Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. We're live every Monday, 7:30 on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and the Facebook chat group. Get your views and get your comments in. My name's Phil. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about today on our show. There is lots of little transfer rumours we're going to go through. Hamza Chowdhury going on loan to West Brom. That's one of the big rumours today. We want to know your views and your comments on that. Soumare going out on loan due to personal problems, not settling in at Leicester. Get your views in on that. James Justin, I thought he made a pretty decent first half debut for England on Saturday. Got injured, certainly won't play against Germany tomorrow, but may play at the weekend. Yannick Vestergaard wants to break into the Leicester first team. Do you want him to break into the Leicester first team, or do you want to break him out of Leicester and send him off somewhere? Let us know about that. Sofiane Diop, I don't know if I'm saying that right, from Monaco to Leicester, £20 million rated winger. We can talk about that, but if we're buying a winger for £20 million, what does that mean for Lookman? Why haven't we signed him yet? What's going on there? Let us know about that. This is a rumour you won't want to hear about. Paul Scholes says Man United should sign Wilfred Ndidi. No Leicester fan wants to hear that. We want Wilfred playing for us. And I also want to know from you, Yuri going to Arsenal for just £25 million. That's the latest news that we're hearing. Sounds absolutely bonkers. Get your views in, get your comments in. We'll get as many of your comments on screen in the next 29 minutes. Welcome to the Monday Night Fan Zone show.
Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. Are you ready for the show? Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. We want your views, we want your comments, so join us live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes, good evening. Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. We are live tonight, streaming here live. In 2 weeks' time, on the 20th of June, we will be live at a fan event, free fan event, may I add, from Peter's Pizzas in Leicester, 7:30 till 9. Steve Walsh will be there. I'm hearing Julian Joshin might be coming, Barry Pierpoint. Lots of freebies to give away as well at that. If you can make it, it's totally free. We've got limited amount of tickets, so grab them there. Follow us wherever you are at Leicester Fan TV. Make sure you do follow us and make sure you like and share everything. And if you do, I can do this for you. I will put as many comments on screen as possible in the next 30 minutes. Vote in confidence on Brendan next. Oh yeah, forget Boris is going through that at the moment. What is going on? Has Brendan got your vote of confidence? I like it, you see. I come with a bit of an agenda sometimes, but I do prefer it when you guys shout what you want to talk about. Rudy, good evening. Yes, sir. How are you? Where are you stationed at the moment, Rudy? I think last time I heard you were down, were you Cyprus or were you down south in Dorset? I can't remember. Richie, get Boris Johnson out of being Prime Minister. Richie, let's talk football. Let's keep it on to football. Maz, good evening to you. I like this one. I was asking you, my question to you, Vestergaard wants to break into the first team at Leicester. This is what he said. Do you want him to break into the first team at Leicester? I do like this one from Patrick. He says, I'd like Yannick to break sweat first. Yes, Patrick, I agree with you. Auntie Karen, good evening to you. Hope you're well. It's not my real auntie, but I hope you're well, Karen. Ross saying, yes, Phil, Scott Taylor 2.0 is nil there. Yes, that is Ross, who has got blonde hair. Maybe, Ross, you'll come on in a bit and show us your hair. We'll see. Tom says, I heard we're linked with Saliba. I think he would be good with Fofana. Get your views in. Let Tom know what you think to that. Andy is referring to Hamza and Soumare leaving the club. Apparently, yes, indeed. Hamza Chowdhury linked with going on loan to West Brom. Did you know Hamza's played, I believe it's 8 games for us this season. 8 games. He's paid reportedly £61,000 a year. I say that's reportedly. He's played 8 matches. Now, if you do the maths, that means Hamza Chowdhury has earned, wait for it, £396,000 per game for Leicester City this season. 396 grand per game. The world's gone mad. The world has gone absolutely mad, has it not? Which is probably why we need to loan him out. because you just can't pay that sort of money for those sorts of games. Simon, good evening, Simon. Hope you're well. Says, get rid of Vestergaard and Bertrand. Would normally say I'd drive them to the airport myself, but not with petrol price. Well, I hear what you're saying, Simon. Bradley Norman, hope you're well. Good evening to you. Ross says, if Vestergaard breaks into the first team, then I'll dye my hair full blue, but I'm all right because he won't. I heard he had COVID last year and wasn't well for a lot of the year, to be fair, Vestergaard. So it is a bit of a shame about that. John Lemmy says, good evening. Hi, John. Get your views and get your comments in. Let's get as many comments on screen as I can. Here are some of the topics we wanted to talk about tonight. Hamza Chowdhury, 8 games, 396 grand per game we paid him, reportedly, this season. I like Hamza Chowdhury, but if he isn't going to be in the first team, maybe a loan to West Brom would make sense. Sumari says he hasn't settled in at Leicester and we are looking to loan him out for next season. I come back to what I said last summer. We've got to buy players who improve the first team, the first 11, and who know what they're doing. Sumari, I don't blame him for going because for me, he hasn't made it. I'm not his biggest fan. I don't think there was a couple of games I watched him. I thought this guy is not good enough for the Premier League at the moment. Ditto Daka. There you go. You know my views. JJ made a great debut for England in my books. Not everybody raved about it, but I thought he played ever so well. Was interested in the game until he got injured. Vestergaard wants to break into the first team. Diop from Monaco to Leicester. This is probably one of the interesting ones. £20 million winger from Monaco. But what does that mean about Lookman? And why haven't we just gone and signed Lookman yet? What is take? Other teams are signing players. I think Aston Villa have signed 2 or 3. Newcastle have signed a player. You know, we sort of all know what we're getting with Lookman. Are we going to sign him or are we not going to sign him? But then we're showing signs of interested in other players there. Interesting one in there. Yuri to Arsenal as well. 25 million? Oh, come on. Don't tell me. He has proven he can play in the Premier League. 2 years, scored an FA Cup winning goal. How can he be worth 40 million to Leicester 2 years ago and only 25 million to Arsenal today? Just because he's got 1 year on his contract now? Interesting there. Karen says, get rid of Vestergaard and Bertrand. Like, why waste time? Get the money for them to buy somebody else sensible. I sort of understand what you're saying, Karen. I would be with you. Vestergaard and Bertrand, get what you can. We're probably paying them too much, Karen. That's probably what's happened in there. Puerto Deserte says Hamza was only in the squad over Mendy because he's an academy player, nothing else. Yes, there's some of that comes into it. And also don't forget Mendy was not in the Premier League squad for half the season for whatever reasons. Ross says get Corner in from Burnley. That'll do nicely. Tom says, I think we need someone like Ward-Prowse to replace Yuri. Plus he's a set piece taker. Interesting. Plays well for Southampton, Ward-Prowse. Do think he's a decent player, but I'm not sure he would come to Leicester, if I'm honest with you, at the moment. Katie says, will Ben Chilwell come in Leicester? I don't think so. I think he's more than happy down at Chelsea on his megabucks. Dara says, clear the deadwood out, need to sort the wage structure out, wasting money on high wages, more debt. We are the 15th richest club in the country. No, not in the country, in Europe, I believe. 15th richest club in Europe. Can you believe that, of Leicester City? We need to get rid of players, says Mick, permanently, not loan them out. Do you agree with Mick there? I think Mick, you take Hamza Chowdhury, for example, and I'm only going on what the reported wage structure is from the accounts and things like that. Reportedly on 60k a week, Hamza. 8 games this season, do the maths, that's 396 grand per game we pay for him. West Brom are not going to pay that. Nobody, you might say, put Hamza in the Championship. Nobody's going to fund that 60 grand. If he goes to West Brom, we're still going to probably I would assume, end up paying quite a bit of it. Richie, good evening to you. Hope you're well, saying Leicester City shouldn't sign Burnley players except for Nick Pope. Richie, you wouldn't take Tarkowski then? Interesting. Ian says he saw Sumari play 3 or 4 times for Lille and wasn't impressed then either. I just don't see it, too slow. Ian, there was a game this season. My memory can't pull it back out, but there was one game. In fact, I can. It was Kante. There we go. It was Kante scored a goal at the King Power Stadium at Leicester. So that obviously was Leicester v Chelsea. rocket scientist to do that. Leicester v Chelsea, Kante picks the ball up about 40 yards out, and he's almost at the same place as Sumari, but by the time Kante hits the ball and scores, Sumari was about 15 yards behind him. Way off the pace. Go and watch it on YouTube and see that goal if you don't remember it. But Sumari, as soon as he did that, I was like, boy, whatever it is, you've got to, Kante's not the fastest person on the pitch. Patrick says, see, we have a new club doctor, speaks volumes on the one Brendan fetched from Celtic. We've got one of the best training facilities in the country, if not Europe at the moment, Patrick. Every technology there. And why have we got so many players injured? Is it just been bad luck? JJ getting injured for England. Is it just bad luck? What is going on? Andy says Ward-Prowse would be a £60 million plus player. I just don't think it'd come to us, Andy, at the moment. I think he is looking for a step up the ladder, and I don't think Leicester from Southampton at the moment is. Mahad says the rebuild started to look like a PR stunt from the Forest game. Mahad, listen, I hear what you're saying, and this is what I want everybody to sort of talk about. If we've said for a couple of months now, Brendan said we're going to have a rebuilding in the summer. Well, surely this rebuilding, we've been planning it for like the last 2 or 3 months, if not longer, haven't we? That's what people do. So I'd like to be seeing a little bit more solid players going and players coming. I get it. We might have to sign players before they go so that, if you sell Youri Tielemans for £40 million, people know you've got some money to spend. So sign the players and then sell the players is one way of doing it. But I agree. Let's just get on with it. Lookman, either we're signing him or we're not. We've had him on trial for a year. Again, my question to you guys is, would you sign Lookman? And if you do, just go, let's get him signed up. Give him a chance to know that he's playing here next year. If we're not, let's come out and say, yep, sorry, we're not going for Lookman next year. We're looking at this guy from Safane Diop from Monaco to Leicester, £20 million winger. But why are we looking at 20 million for him when we know Lookman is there, unless they want too much for Lookman? But come on, let's, like Mahad said there, let's get in there and let's get players sorted. Karen says Christian Eriksen won't come to us. I don't think he will, Karen, at all. Even if we went for him. No, I 100% agree with you. I don't think he would. Sarah says let go of Tielemans and bring in Frank Kessie. Do you know what, Sarah? I don't know Frank Kessie. I'm sorry. Come on, you're gonna have to tell me. Give me more. Why would you get him in, Sarah? Let me know. Mahad says Sumari is being played out of position. He's a Tielemans type, and Tielemans doesn't look good as a defensive midfielder either. I'll take your word for it, Mahad. I thought he was brought in to be a box-to-box something. I hear what you're saying, a bit more box-to-box. I don't see it at all in there. Who's said this? Let's get this in there. Dara says, need a head of recruitment sorted. We seem to get some right and we seem to get some wrong. And I think most clubs would probably say that, Dara. You get some right, you get some wrong. I just feel I think since winning the Premier League, we've had 2 summers. The summer we won the Premier League, we got it wrong. We got Sumari, Musa. I'd have to check the others, but they were the headlines that were that summer season. And then I think we got it wrong last summer. We've had 2 years on the trot where we've almost qualified for Champions League. And then last summer in particular was a real mess of a summer transfer, if you ask me. Sumari and Daka, definitely not good enough for last season. Bertrand and Vestergaard, again, back up, but not nearly good enough in there. We always... LCFC Grey, why do we do it? Why do we faff around with transfers? Let's just get on with it. Sometimes people, I think fans forget, if you sign a player, especially a player, it doesn't matter if they're from this country or abroad, but this is why I always like players who've been playing in the UK. They don't have to be from the UK, but I like players who've been playing in the UK. You've got to think, if you sign somebody from Monaco, he doesn't probably even know where Leicester is at the moment. He's got to come over. He's got to settle in. He's got to find a house. He's got to bring over his baggage, his clothes, his furniture, his Lamborghini, his Rolexes. He's got to find out where the nearest posh shops are to go shop. You get the drift. I'm taking the mickey. But he has got to come here and he's got to settle in. So Let's do that now. Let's bring him in early June, mid-June. Let him settle in, find a nice house, settle down, get to know the local area, find out where he wants to go to do this and that. Let's not do it on August the 2nd because we're getting desperate and the season starts in 6 days. Let's do it now. We know the season starts early. Let's get in there and get there. Karen says, would sign Lookman and get rid of Daka. I think I would just about, Karen, I would just about agree with the Lookman point of view. I would agree that I just about saw enough from Lookman for 15 or 20 million quid to say sign him. Would you? What we're talking about, Lookman, just if he was, let's say he was at 20 million pounds, we're being linked 20 million for this winger from Monaco. If you could get Lookman for 20 million, would you buy him? He does tend to have a bit of a second season flop at most clubs he goes to, which would be my worry. But I do think he probably has, at times, he's been the best player on our side, I would say, a few games this season. Patrick says here, no new kit release. Again, it's a great question, Patrick. We've been trying to find out what is going on with the kit release. Our understanding is, Patrick, that the deal with Adidas, I'm pressing the wrong bit here, pressing it there. Look, you can see. The deal with Adidas is at an end, and we're not quite sure what's going on. We're not in the know. We're only going on what we see on the internet. But what is going on with the kit is one question. What is going on with the ground extension as well? He says it doesn't look good. I think it's just probably got stuck in various things, but there is questions there that Patrick's asking. Ian's saying there isn't a lot going on the transfer front, ins or outs. Nobody wants our Deadwood. Are we going to have another frustrating window? Ian, it's only June the 6th, so we're not going to have that quite yet, but who knows? Mahad says transfer policy has got us to where we are, and a lot of the starting 11 would be picked apart by the top 6, so have faith. I agree, Mahad. You can't get everyone right. You can't get every transfer right. For every Riyad Mahrez, there will be a Musa. For every Kante, there will be a Soumare, etc., etc. Generally, I would say, if I had to say it, I think we get it right 60% of the time. And probably that's pretty decent. Excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. Ross says, we ain't going to get rid of Daka. Let's get that into perspective. I agree with you, Ross. He's going nowhere. He's going to stay around. But LCFC Gray, 100% agree with you. A lot of pressure is on Daka next season. He has simply to step up with you. And I've said it. I'll stick with what I've said. At the moment, I hope to goodness Daka comes good next year. But my honest view at the moment is I don't see it. Maybe he will. A lot of pressure. Maybe he will come good. I don't see it when I've seen him play, and he's had quite a good opportunity this season. I just don't see him. I asked you how much would you pay for Lookman. Mike says 15 mil max. But would you sign him, Mike, for that? If you could get him 15 million, would you have him in there? Tom, I thought Lookman had a 12 million clause in loan we had. There was some sort of clause in there. There was also some sort of clause we heard if he played X amount of games, which he did do, which is why I'm a bit like, if there was clauses and this and that, make the decision. The season finished now a couple of weeks ago. I think we knew by then whether we would want Lookman or not. So you sort of wonder, he's been at the club all year. If he likes the club and wants to come here, if the club likes him and likes the deal, either make the deal or say you're not making him. Bradley says, I would spend 30 million for Lookman. So Brad rates him that highly. I wouldn't go that far. LCFC Gray says Lookman is okay, but would prefer better. I'm a bit. This is my question to you, Gray. Is we're talking about this Sofiane Diop from Monaco for 20 million. Now, I personally don't know too much about him. If you do know more, let me know. Let me know if you think he is. But I would probably, if I had 20 million to spend, at the moment, I'd probably stick with Lookman because I've seen him do it. Generally, get 6, 7s, 8s in a Premier League game, 6 out of 10. I always rate players. I always rate them. And I think Lookman on average would give me a 7 out of 10. Occasionally give you an 8 or a 9 out of 10. Occasionally give you a 5 or 6 player. That's what it is. Joe is late. It's all right, mate. Don't worry. Let us know your views on all these topics. Good evening to you, counsellor. What are your thoughts on Daka? Can he cut it for the Foxes? Needs to beef up this summer. I've said it to you, counsellor. I don't think he is good enough. I hope he is good enough next season. I hope it does hurt. I only heard great things from the insider at the club who saw him in pre-season and early on last year. Said to me, Daka looks absolutely on fire and is going to be amazing. I'm going to hope that comes good. It didn't last season for me. The transfer window will be open on June the 10th, says the Toby128. LCFC Gray says we can't keep finding the likes of Mahrez and Kante forever. Well, if you notice now, LCFC Grey, we sort of don't, because now we're into we'll spend 15 to 20 million on a player, hope to turn them into a 30 to 40 million player, e.g. Soyuncu. I think we paid 17 million for him. If he went to Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, he's going to be worth 30 to 40 million pounds. We've doubled our monies on him. Doesn't always work. Benkovic bought at the same time as Soyuncu, 16 million. I think we pretty much gave him away in the end. Ditto Sumari, 30 million pound player. Again, he's come out and said he's just not settled in Leicester. Sorry, that's the wrong one. Sumari wants to go out on loan due to personal reasons. 30 million pound player. Again, I don't know what his personal problems are, but whatever. Dave says, not been impressed with Schmeichel for a while now. Got a bit of a mixed rating for the Denmark team at the weekend. Got a 6 out of 10 for Denmark, I believe. And apparently the footnote was, I think it said Kasper Schmeichel for Denmark, 6 out of 10. Good shot stopper today. Distribution was poor. Sounds about right. The councillor says, Lookman for 15 million is a no-brainer. And let's get this one. Will Robinson, good evening, Will, says, I would take Lookman. Yeah, I would. Just. Andy says, sell Hamza and I would play for 10 grand a week, win a chicken dinner. Andy, you, like me, would pay. I've played on the King Power pitch once in my life. Once. Paid. And I paid to play in a charity match. I paid money to pull on the shirt I paid for to play on the pitch I love. We would pay to play. I don't need to pay any of us to go and play because we're all that through and through. When we tap the badge like that, it's because we love it. When the players tap it, it's because they're being paid as a lot of money. Anyway, Jess says, Dupe has a decent rating on FIFA. Well, let's see on that. Joe says, what's the thoughts on a pre-season friendly with OH Leven? Yeah, I think good, makes sense. Sister club, let's get that. I think we should do a little bit more like that with them. No reason not to go over there and play them. I'm thinking, says Ian, Leipzig are waiting on a bigger offer. Lookman is more than a 12 million pound player, in my opinion. I agree, Ian. This is the thing. He did prove himself. For me, Lookman, and this is what I'm saying to you about Daka, Sumari, and Lookman. It's just my opinion. Let me know what yours is. Did Daka prove himself as a Premier League player last season? For me, that is a very, very easy no. Daka did not prove himself as a Premier League player. Did Sumari prove himself as a Premier League player? Way no. Did Lookman? Yes. I think Lookman can handle the Premier League as a player. So for me, Lookman is a Premier League player. Therefore, there will be clubs looking at him. And that's why I say, get in there. We had him on first dibs. Go and sign him. What would you think if Lookman ended up at Forest or West Ham or Newcastle? What would you think if he went to one of these clubs who are around where we are? Brighton, somebody comes in for him. Matt Had says, Lookman is like Albrighton with legs. He lacks technical ability. Mahrez should be the stud. Listen, Mahad, listen, I know you're a young lad. I've 45 years of watching Leicester City. Riyad Mahrez is up there with Keith Weller as two players, sensational players. I may never see anybody of Riyad Mahrez's skill wear a Leicester City shirt ever in my life. I'm hoping I'm hoping I've got time to see one more player of that quality. I've only seen two at that very, very highest wizard on the wing play. That was Keith Weller. That was Riyad Mahrez. There are one in a generation type of players. So I don't sit here demanding us to sign the next Riyad Mahrez. I really don't. Gray says Daka needs to bulk up a bit. John, love the profile pic, John. Says bring the youth team players, give them a punt. Yeah, we could do to see. I'm not seen again. We've had Harvey Barnes come through. We've had obviously Ben Chilwell. We've had Hamza come through. We've had Luke Thomas come through. We've had KDH come through. We've had quite a good little production line coming through. But like you say, John, where is the next youth player coming to break through? Luke Thomas broke through about 18 months ago. Where's the next one coming through in there? Be interesting to see. I'd love to see us bring a young striker through. I really would. I think every fan would love that. Could it be Harvey Barnes? Could he? I'm not seeing it, but could Harvey Barnes be turned into a striker? Tom says Daka will improve. Sometimes takes player a season to get into the groove of the Premier League. I'm with you, Tom. I hope so. I hope so. From what I've seen, I don't see it because I hate to say it, but I there's been times where I've if you go and watch, I go and watch some non-league football around Leicestershire, and there's times where you think, see players give a bit more on the pitch, just in terms of effort than I saw from Daka at times, and a bit of thinking like, I need to be in the right place. I just think Daka seemed like he was always a yard off where the ball was, but looked like he was almost there. Anyway, Daka needs patience. I know he will come good. Mike, honestly, I hope to God next season you're all at me every time Daka scores. I want you to. Every time Daka scores next season, come back and remind me what an idiot I am and what I said wrong. Please. I hope to God Mike Davis. I should write these names down. Mike Davis said on June the 6th, Daka needs patience. He will come good. Daka will improve, Tom says. I should write it down. I hope you're right. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Richie says, you should go to Seagrave next season to watch the under-23s and do a show there. They play on Mondays. I would do. Do you know what? I've been pinging the club emails to let us come up to the training ground and do a bit of a live from up there. If anybody's from the club is watching, come on, let Leicester Fan TV in and let's have a little look around the changing rooms and all that up there at Seagrave. None of the fans have particularly been up there. Why don't you let us come and show everybody what it's like? Tom says Vardy will help Daka improve in those areas in training too. Hope so, Tom. Hope you're right. Hope you're right. Tripe and Onions, good evening, sir, says if Diop signs, he will be the Mahrez replacement we have been craving. He's that good, is he? Sign him up. Sign him up. Dara says we need a big striker. Dara, yes, please. Please. It's only took us 27 minutes to get onto a plan B type of player for the club. Jesus, we need a plan B player. And that would be a big striker as a priority. Honestly, somebody to come and sit on the bench and be a plan B. Or for some games where you just fancy mixing it up, give yourself some options. Need a big striker. I'm so with you. Who would you get, Dara, if it would be? The councillor says, controversial, but if we can get a minimum 45 million for Barnes, get him in, get Lookman £30 million towards a quality centre-back, possibly Saliba from the Gooners in there. LCFC Gray says Arteta won't sell to us. Well, then we won't sell Yuri Tielemans to him. Ian, yes, I do. I do, Ian. Remember, Vards didn't hit the ground running. Give Daka another year. I will, and I am, Ian, and you can come back and rub my face right in it when Daka keeps scoring all those goals next year. The only thing I would say is Jamie Vardy came with a £1 million price tag, which agreed was a lot back then. But Daka's come at a higher level with a higher price tag, even relatively, 30 million quid. I expected more. I do expect more from him. I really do. Nick says Daka will come good. Take Vardy as an example. Do you think he'd be the player he turned out to be when we signed him from Fleetwood all those years ago? I agree with you, Nick. But, and I'm going to say this again, like Riyad Mahrez, Jamie Vardy is. When was the last best striker wearing a Leicester City shirt, Nick, before Jamie Vardy? Come on. When was the last best striker anywhere near Jamie Vardy's quality? Have a think. Go back. It's not Matty Fryer. It's not Ian Hume, much as I love Hoomey. It's not Stevie Howard, is it? You know, where'd you go back, Nick, on strikers to get your next Jamie Vardy? And my answer would be Gary Lineker, 1980, 79 to about 82, 83. He was at Leicester. I think we sold him to obviously Everton. I think 83, somewhere of 84. Gary Lineker. So that's like Jamie Vardy is like Riyad Mahrez. They're once in a generation types of players. So I'm not asking Daka to be as good as Jamie Vardy, but yeah, Andy says Frank Worthington. Yeah, again, was there in the 70s. Lineker Smith, Dara says players in there. Again, Tom says Lineker. Neil says Lineker. I'm with you. Last best player in there. Cotty says LCFC Grey. I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at Andy Medhurst. Yeah, not Junior Lewis in there. Patrick Connolly. Ewan Roberts. Lee. Yes. Yeah, I agree. Ewan, I would give Ewan in there as somewhere who got close. Heskey, says Nick, wasn't prolific enough, and perhaps had some of his best time not at Leicester. Yakubu was on fire when he played. Yes, for a very short period, Ian, he really was. Don't get me going on Speedy. It was on the timeline the other day, wasn't it? That Blackburn match. Stan Collymore was good for Leicester City. Yes, for about 4 games, Richie. He was in there. Dickoff, some interesting ones, but Dickoff was nowhere near in the league of Jamie Vardy or Gary Lineker, Nick. Let's be honest. He was in there. Jim says a big striker under Rodgers is a waste of time as he doesn't seem to like putting crosses in the box or balls up there. I agree. And partly, Jim, that is going to be part of the debate for next season. That it's going to be more of the same. Of course, I renewed my season tickets today. Of course, I hope you guys remembered it was season ticket renewal deadline day today. Of course, I left it till the last day. Don't know why I just did, but I am sort of expecting more of the same next season. I hope I'm wrong. Mike says here, it looks like Philly's getting outvoted re Daka. However, his gut feeling could be right. I've not seen it, Mike. If it was based on this season, I think I'd find it fairly easy to argue with people that Daka is not good enough. He's not Premier League. Yes, he scored 4 goals in a Europa League game, but apart from that, I don't think he's in there. Oh, Paul has just. How did we get onto this? Ian Ormond Droids, the Mighty Sticks, and Phil G. Good and a great pairing. What some games they played back in there. Was it Derby we beat? Both scored. What a thing. Julian Joachim. Talking of Julian Joachim, decent player, but not up to Vardy and not up to Gary Lineker. Don't forget, we're doing this live event on June the 20th at Peter's Pizzas. It's free for you guys. We're going to do a fan zone show from there live, but it's going to be hopefully interviewing Steve Walsh, some fans asking him questions about transfers. Hopefully Julian Joachim is going to be there, and Barry Pierpoint and a couple of others. It's free to come. There's the last couple of free tickets to give away. There's going to be about 150 fans down there. There's quiz to do, free pizza from Peter's, plenty of fun stuff to do, and plenty of stuff to win absolutely for free. A free event. Get down there if you've not got it in there. A couple more strikers. Andy says Akin Badboy in there. Tommy Wright. Oh, Tommy Wright. Not a striker though, was he, Dara? Oh, Tommy Wright. Stevie Claridge. Yes, good. Yeah. Karen, Stevie Claridge was good. Muzzy wasn't a striker, so you can't have that. Marcus Bent wasn't that good. Yes, great. Always saw JJ at the Bills Hills on Woodgate. I think you two having your own little chats in there. And Mahad, he could well be right. Daka is a product of Rodgers' confused tactics. He wants a Vardy replacement and then doesn't play through balls. To be fair, when we got Jamie Vardy there, half the time I'm thinking, when we sing the song, the Vichai song, we play out from the back, we counter-attack. When we sing it, I'm like, oh, please, to just have a counter-attack. Just to have a fast counter-attack to give Jamie Vardy the ball we all know he wants in there. Trevor Benjamin. Trevor Benjamin always tried hard, Kenny. I could never fault him for effort. Just skill, control, composure. goal scoring. They're the bits he failed on. Carl says Graham Fenton was on fire. Adam says Rooster Russell. Rooster. Oh, I'd love to have a chat with Rooster Russell. I don't think we ever got him on. And it there. Joe perhaps comes up with GTF, who ate all the pies. Bless him. Kevin Phillips, last club was Leicester. Yes, thanks, Ross, but still not up to that level, not while he was at Leicester. And Andy, I'm going to give Andy the last comment to put my all-time least favourite striker. In fact, he's joint top. The one and only Mr. Beckford. Least favourite, joint top with Tommy English. That's going back. Tommy English and Jermaine Beckford. What a pair they were in there. The councillor, the legend that is Ian Marshall, defender, striker, whatever he was, of course, and Walshy. Come and see us. Do come, if you can. Come down to Peter's Pizzas. The link's all over our socials. The last few tickets are there. It's free. It's a Monday, 7:30 till 9. Come and meet Walshy. We're going to take the Premier League trophy. We've got the FA Cup. We've got the League Cup. You can come and get your photos with them. There's so much going to be down there. Totally free. I'll be there. Reedy will be there. Hopefully Tom will be there. Jack will be there. Come and get your views in. Jamie from the Foxes says he can't be asked to come over. I just think he's being lazy, but that's up to him. As ever, follow us wherever you are at Leicester Fan TV on all socials. And thanks as ever to all these guys. They're important, but they're not as important as you guys and all your views and comments. I'll see you next Monday here live. Hopefully, transfer news breaking all over Leicester Fan TV during the week as and when it happens. Don't forget, YouTube channel competition. You can win a Leicester City shirt on the YouTube channel just by subscribing. There's new content going up there daily. Today, Reedy and Sam are talking about Hamza Chowdhury going to West Brom in detail. Got me chatting with Steve Walsh about who he would sign. So much on there. Go and check out Leicester Fan TV on YouTube. From me, Phil, thanks for all your views. Thanks for all your comments. See you next Monday.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. Make sure to follow us on all of our social channels at Leicester Fan TV. Visit our website, leicesterfantv.com.